Well, lately I've been wondering about what's been going on the local, on the global, all across the horizon. At the rising of the dawn to the setting of the sun, when the night creepeth in, more and more havoc is run. DMC, do more crazy things get done while you sleep. It's the turning of a chapter, the end as we speak. Too much BS on the regular, causing all the secular, segregating energy. The world needs an editor, scripted on a regular, building up the reservoir, not heading for the jugular, restructuring the cellular. I'm telling you, not sparing you, enlighten you, not biting. Are you ready for the truth? Take a look all around you. Lately I've been wondering about what's been going on. We be pushing, eventually it's gone. On a daily I've been wondering what's been going on. We be pushing, eventually it's gone.
Your favorite song, Seb? We should stand up. Flash the lights.
Pick it up, yes. What
does this song mean? Seb, what does that song mean? I feel like from your naughty smile that it may mean something naughty.
It does have double meaning, and due to children being on this show as well and watching with their parents, I think it's best for me to take that offline for another session.
The song is called Tangi
Modia. Yes.
Yeah, very nice.
Tangi Modia is a beautiful flower. Yeah.
Oh, sounds lovely. Maloni, I'm Mary Jane. Welcome to another Oceania TU. I'm the co-director of Matavai Pacific Cultural Arts. I'm joining you from Darawa Land, or otherwise known as Wollongong.
Beautiful. And Bulavinaka Sevu here, coming to you from the Gadigal land in the Eora Nation, all the way on the eastern coast, eastern side of the city of Sydney. And I'd like to also acknowledge the custodians of this land, both past, present, and those emerging. Always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tonight we have one host missing, which is Miss MC Trey, who will be joining us a little later on in the program, as she's been part of a youth event in Mount Druitt called Fun Park, Mary Jane. So we will talk a little bit more about what the event was about and when she shows up and joins us at around 8 p.m.
Yeah, so don't worry, she's not slacking off. She's actually working. Hi, Sev, it's good to see you. It's good to see you at home. Don't forget to make your comments. Put your comments down. Tell us where you're joining us from. It's another night of Oceania TU Whakawheloaki atu. Now, greetings today is in Tokelauan. It is in New Zealand. They celebrate the Pacific languages, and we don't do that so much here in Australia. But I thought I'd acknowledge that. So today or this week has been Tokelau Language Week. Have you been to Tokelau, Sevu?
Not yet. No, I haven't. I would like to go there though, definitely.
Yeah, me too.
Have you? Have you been?
No, but I want to. I want to go there. I know that I have ancestors. My mom's family, some of them are from Tokelau.
Right.
But I'd really like to go there.
Well, we'll have to make a expedition, a discovery journey, right? The other thing as well is Oceania TU is all about sharing information, ideas, and resources from our Pacifica communities here in New South Wales and beyond. So welcome to all those that are at least tuning in from wherever you are, whether it be in Australia or from all around the world. We greet you. Pacific greetings.
On tonight's show, I got to catch up with a good friend of mine. Her name is Adele Liao. She's a survivor of breast cancer. You probably noticed I'm wearing pink. It's Pinktober, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's the last week of it. So Adele's going to join us and speak to us about her health journey. And we also have part 2 of Reverend James Bhagwan's interview he had with MC Trey. So it was from last week, but we have the second part this week.
Yes. Reverend James will be sharing with us the hopes that they have for the conference. He's also at Cop26, as we mentioned last week and we shared about, and some insights into what goes on behind the scenes. Also, Trey has been at an event earlier, which she will share about, and I'm excited to hear about what Farn Park is all about up there in Mount Drew at that conference that she's attending, Mary Jane.
That's right.
And sorry, I was just going to say the one of the things about Fun Park is the aim is to provide a safe platform where youth can explore cultural and social issues that may be impacting them, and that other youths alike. So it's very interesting things going on over there for Pacific Youth that we're excited to hear more about.
Yeah, and Bula to Kyra. Bula, she says she's from the, okay, let me get this right, Thangi Maidama family in Ellington in Raki Raki Ra. So where is that? Is that a place in Fiji? I'm assuming.
Yes,
no?
that's right.
Very nice to see you, Kyra.
Talofa. Bulavinaka Katra. Yes.
Yeah, lovely. Anyway, who better to have in those youth spaces than MC Trey, who, by the way, guys, and I mention it now because if she comes on the show, she's probably going to play this down and tell us to move swiftly along. But Trey is up. She's been nominated for an award for the 2021 New South Wales Youth Worker of the Year Award, which is an annual celebration of the exceptional work of youth services and youth work across New South Wales. Seb, you know your girl is humble. She works hard, and in fact, she deserves multiple awards, not just that one award. She deserves many awards.
So true, so true. And she doesn't say very much, but when you know of the work, as you mentioned, Mary Jane, the caliber of involvement, the people that she's involved with in a lot of the work that she does, I think she definitely deserves this and a lot more awards in the future. So very proud of her to be nominated and wishing her all the best with that. So Trey's done a lot so far in her young life. She's already very accomplished, and she continues to go into education. She's just finished again this degree that she's just completed, and it's just exciting to see her journey ahead again. Another life, another chapter.
Proud of you, Trey. Proud of you. Bula Joe, good to see you from the Northern Territory, Litchfield National Park. Bula to you. Yes, and congratulations.
All my Fijian folks are on here, all the way from Raki, Nissan Bulavinaka Joe. Joe's always tuning in as well, all the way from. Man, you need to send us some photos, Joe, of the national
park. Where you're staying?
That area, yeah.
Better still. Why don't we come and visit you? That would be
even better. Yes. We can have some shows from there. Why not?
So weird without Trey. It feels weird. It's like we're missing. I mean, obviously we're missing something, but she'll be here soon. 8 o'clock, she'll be turning up. To see everyone.
She will be turning up soon. Now, moving right along, as we have only a short while, and I know we can, so we'll just try to keep each other on track. Yeah. We're gonna do a analysis of our emojis, right? So let's have a look at what the weeks have been like. Why don't you start, MJ? What's your week been like? Let's analyze MJ's emojis here, people. So
you want to know how I'm going, but you want to see my emojis in order to analyze what my emojis, my week was through my emojis. Okay,
that's right. Last 6. We want to see the last 6 emojis.
The first six or last 6, whatever. No,
the last 6. I mean the first 6. Sorry, the first 6. Yeah, the last one that you used.
Joe, can you please post up your last 6 emojis that you posted, and same with you, Kyra. Okay, so here, this was mine,
and so everybody else, and we'll analyze it. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, you analyze mine. So what's mine mean? How was my week based on my emojis?
You laughed a lot. You have a lot of heart. You believe in justice. There's the hand power sign there. There's also some emotions being shared. You know, some sadness happening there, maybe a little bit of sorrow that may happen. But also, look, it's balanced out with the tears of laughter, right? The tears of joy with the tears of sadness. And then you've got the beautiful flower that matches the flower upon your head right now. So that represents just the warmth of your heart and the beauty of your spirit. Woo!
Woo! Okay. 5 points for you. Yeah, it was one of those weeks. It's a little bit emotional, as you can tell from the emoji. So I was laughing. We have to laugh. We're Pacific. You've got to laugh, even in the most mundane situations. I know we've got a bit of a dark sense of humor, but I did laugh a lot. There was a lot of love shared, you know, because there was a lot of things going on. When one of my eldest daughter left for Cop, it's, you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I'm sending her to the other side of the world, and there's COVID. We've been very sheltered here in New South Wales compared to the rest of the world. So I was feeling a little bit of, you know, love, and I was feeling really empowered, and I hope everybody else was too. A little bit of tears, sometimes like on the edge of emotion, both feeling proud and, of course, always forgetting, you know, I'm a Pacific Islander. I'm so proud of my roots, and I showed that in my hibiscus. So let's see if anyone else has posted. Yeah, so you got that right. Joe, whoa, that's a
look, he said you're welcome to our trip over there. So yes, let's go. There you go. It's giving us the green light.
Joe's got a lot of musical instruments there. It's good to see, and not forgetting his glass of beer.
I think that either he's a real lover of music or he is a musician. Looking at that, I would say that he's a musician. And is that a drink there, like a?
It's beer.
I can't see beer. It's a beer, right?
You know, Black Arrow is a very musician type of name, isn't it? Joe Black Arrow. Yeah, that's a nice name. Okay, Sev, what about you? What was your week like based on your emojis? I'm going to try and analyze your one.
Read, girl.
Okay, now as I read into the crystal ball of your emojis, I can see that, Sev, you shared a lot of love this week.
Yeah.
You had a lot of thumbs up. You had a few tears. You were also shocked sometimes. And you laughed a little bit, and you're a little bit mad. Sounds like quite emotional week. What was it really like?
And you know, all those 6 could happen in an hour.
Me too. Me too.
Right? It's not a progression during the week. It's like 1 hour. Give me 1 hour and I'll have all those emotions in it, you know? It's been awesome. I feel really, the word that I used was I feel quite transient, as if I'm floating between a dream state and this reality. Because there's so much that's coming to pass and manifesting and so forth. And it just feels really, really dreamlike. And, you know, I acknowledge the fact that I live a very blessed and fulfilled and privileged life. So thus you know, the different things that I'm involved with brings out those certain emotions. Like sometimes, what the hell happened there? What did you just do there? Things like that. And then there's the part of me that's shocked. And then there's a part of me that's kind of like angry, with a sense of when you see injustice, which is normally why I get upset, is when I see the injustice that happens for people who are then vulnerable to those circumstances. So those are my emotions. Oh, Joe's talking about voodoo, and Kyra has put up laughter, prayers, or blessings. A lot of love going on there. Baby, who had a baby, Kyra? Some more babies in Ra. Ra is a beautiful place, Mary Jane. When you come to Fiji, I'm going to take you, when we go to Fiji, right? When you come to Fiji while I'm there, we'll have to take a trip going through the western side. So from Nandi, instead of going towards Suva on the coast, you go left instead of going right. Oh, and then you come around. Yeah, you come around the other way, and the views from the mountains. Ra has got a lot of beautiful mountains, and the silhouette of the islands is incredible. And most people don't take that tour because it seems longer, and there's, you know, it's a lot of just sort of greenery. But the other thing is about where Rye's from as well, where Kyra is from, is where Fiji water comes from.
Oh,
Did you know
very famous Fiji
Yes.
water. I'll put that
The
up.
fountain of Fiji water is from there.
Is that your secret, Seb, with that beautiful skin that you have?
Here
Fiji
we go. Here we go.
Anyway, moving on. Thank you for that. I can't wait to go to Fiji. All right, let's move on with our show. We've got our first interview coming up. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a cause that is very dear to our hearts at Matavai because of a phenomenal dear friend of mine. She was Miss Samoa, Miss South Pacific in 2001. Her name was Manamea Pelushwoga. And unfortunately, my dear friend lost her battle with cancer, breast cancer, in 2018. She's was a loving mom of 2 kids, beautiful girls, a loving wife, and she was just a phenomenal woman. So from that time, we decided at Matavai that in her honor and in the honor of all the breast cancer warriors, that we would put on a production, and we would travel to the islands and we would put this production on and would fundraise money and donate it back to the Samoa Cancer and the Tonga Cancer Society. So that's what we did. Samoa, we did Love is Bigger Than Cancer, an expression that was coined by Manamea. We also went to Aotearoa. We were supposed to go to Fiji last year, but we didn't get to, unfortunately, because of COVID. So that's why Breast Cancer Awareness Month is very dear, hence pink, and you'll see sometimes on our posts on Matavai. So tonight...
Will you come next year? Will you come next year to Fiji?
Maybe, now that you're there. Yeah, it all comes back down to the cha-ching, if we have enough funds, getting back on our feet after COVID.
You got a place to stay. You got a place to stay, so you don't have to worry about that.
50 to 70 people, Sam?
We will make do. I can take you to my village where we can house even the more village life.
Sounds good. So coming up on the show tonight, we have a very dear friend of mine. She's one of the mums at Matavai. She has 5 kids. And unfortunately, 2018, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, but she survived breast cancer. She's joining us to share her journey, her health journey, and she's got some real gems in this interview. I really do hope you enjoy it. This is Adele Leao. What was going through your mind? You just had a baby. I'm sure breast cancer was the last thing you thought was going to happen.
That's it. So we kind of felt complete. We had our 4 boys and we got the girl that we were praying for, and everyone was praying that we would have a girl. So she arrived, and when she was 2.5 months, I did a self-examination. I don't know why. You just see those things, just do your self-examination, and I noticed 2 lumps. So one was the size of a pea, like a frozen pea, just like at the top, and then there was a bit more like a fleshier lump up to the side. So I kept it to myself for a bit because I just thought it doesn't hurt. It's not stinging or anything. So I won't, it's nothing, it'll just pass. And I think a lot of us Pacific women do that. We just think if it's not hurting, then it's fine. And we just kind of soldier on. But I think Lisi really felt me, I don't know, just felt something was not the same, and I was kept asking if I was all right. And then I just kind of kept it from him for like a week or 2. And then eventually I told him, actually, I found 2 lumps, and I don't know, what do you think? He actually told me, go and get it tested. So I went and got a mammogram done. And then after that, my GP called me straight away and said, Adele, there are lumps there. There's more than just the 2. We need you to come in straight away. So baby was 2.5 months, and then that was the diagnosis we got. So I thought it was benign. I didn't think it was cancerous. I was still pretty, optimistic that it was nothing. Got the biopsy, and then she referred me to the top surgeon in Sydney and told me to go and see him with my results. And when they do the biopsy, they check if it's cancerous or not. And then when I went to see him, he said, that it was positive. And I saw him on the Tuesday, and I remember being in that appointment and him telling me, okay, next Thursday, come in, we'll remove your breast. Was numb at that time, and I just remember not hearing anything else after that. I was just filled with emotion. I was in shock, and I just started to cry in the surgery. Yeah, so he said, come back on Thursday, we'll remove it, we'll get rid of it, and you've caught it. You're lucky it's at an early stage, but you'll need to do some more tests. So we left the surgery, and while we were driving on the motorway, I remember praying and bawling in the car to Alisi. He was just stunned with the result of our appointment. And I told him, you know, I can't get it removed before Christmas. It's going to be Christmas. The boys need their mum for Christmas. And honestly, before we got off the motorway, the surgeon called me up and said, Adele, scrap that plan. What we're going to do is going to do chemo first. And then if it reduces the tumours by after your chemo, we'll try the surgery and then radiation. So immediately at that time, I knew that this was not just about cancer. God really intervening in my life. Yeah, when I did that call out to him in that car in that moment, and ever since that moment, he's been on the path and just this hand on my back ever since. So it's after he told me the change of the treatment plan, he said I had to go to my oncologist, and with my oncologist, they rush you through all these tests. So you have to make sure it's not in your blood, it's not in your bones. So you're really against the race of the spread. So I was lucky to get all those tests done before Christmas, and then go and see my oncologist, and she had told me that it was early stage, it was localized, it was just in the breast, and that it was curable.
Was there any other symptoms that you could, when in reflection, that you maybe would have picked up on earlier that you didn't think was a sign or a symptom?
Yes, so nothing. No, I had no symptoms apart from just feeling, it's a bit odd, there's a couple of lumps there. But there's no history. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I breastfeed, I feel like I'm healthy, and, you know, I exercise a little bit. So it was just a shock to, get that diagnosis.
What was the thing that really got you through it?
To be honest, was God. God was, the ultimate healer in my story. And when you have that hashtag love is bigger than cancer, that is so true, because when I was diagnosed with it, the amount of love that was poured on our family was just awesome. And the diagnosis was so insignificant compared to the amount of love that was poured on our family. So there was so much I feel like women healers that walked towards me during that time and offered me their healing. I had my cousin that I hadn't even connected with in Dunedin tell me, "Cuz, you need to try frankincense oil." And it was just seemed biblical. It just seemed like there were medicines that had been used for thousands of years that I was applying to myself, as well as applying the modern medicine. So like the love of God totally was my strength, really centered my spirit, really, and really flipped the script. I didn't really feel like that I had a cancer. I feel like cancer had us, and it was just something on the side.
What are the gems that you learned from your experience that you could pass on to others?
In my experience, I feel like cancer is not just one-dimensional. It's multidimensional. It's spiritual. It's emotional. It's topical treatment. It's nutritional. With this Breast Cancer Awareness Month is to really understand the position of your power in your family generation, because you're at a crossroads where you can look down and say, what am I going to offer my kids? Am I going to give them sickness or healing? And, I most definitely choose healing.
Wow. Thank you, Adele, for that conversation. And it's really beautiful and encouraging to watch that. So my respect to all those that are dealing with breast cancer and those breast cancer warriors out there. And it's definitely something that we need to stay vigilant about with our health, and supporting our loved ones and encouraging them to seek medical help if things are not feeling right in their bodies and so forth. It's important to just go and make sure that you get checked. I didn't share this with you before, Mary Jane, but my sister is also a breast cancer warrior. And she's done incredibly well. And it's beautiful to hear their stories, about the resilience to come through those things. And also, I loved what Adele was talking about as far as the holistic approach, and how she leaned upon her faith and her belief that, that God's got her. That would really help as well, so beautiful to hear.
And respect to you, Joe. He's just sharing he too had thyroid and lung cancer. But he said, please don't pity me. I'm also on remission. No pity from here, but a lot of respect for you, Joe. The other thing I admire about Adele and other people that have gone through cancer that I am aware of is their strength, when they're in that eye of the storm, and the strength that comes out of them. and also the love they share with others. So Adele now, she's very much like, she has cold showers, she's a juicer, she fasts a lot. So she does all these other treatments just to keep her body in peak,
Yes.
health
Yes.
condition. So she highly recommends that as well. As Pacific people, we love our food, we love our fatty food, we love our alcohol, our sweet drinks. And I think, we're at this crossroads where we need to start going back to the way we used to eat before we had all these foods. And I'm speaking about myself as well, because I have an addiction to hot chips, just quietly.
Oh, that's a really nasty one.
I can't help it. So yeah, that's right. And as it said there at the end, remember, you don't need finding breast cancer early provides the best chance of surviving the disease. Remember, you don't need to be an expert or use a special technique to check your breasts. Some of the things that you could look out for, now this may be very uncomfortable with Pacific people, but I'm just going to say it. For women, looking out for new lumps or lumpiness, especially in one breast, the change in size or shape of your breast, a change to your nipple, whether there's crusting, ulcers, redness, or inversions, maybe a discharge coming from it, a change in the skin, and an unusual pain that doesn't go away. So just some of the symptoms to look out for.
Thank you for sharing that. And if I could just add to that, it's love hearing about Adele's cold showers, and because I do all those practice, right? And I don't do it because as an after remedy. Prevention is better than cure. So, really be really thoughtful about taking care of our bodies, and treat it as a temple with respect and taking care of it, and it'll take care of you. So also a lot of prevention is important, and a lot of our Pacific lifestyle, the change of food, the change of diet and lifestyle has significantly impacted us. So it's important that we take care of all these things. And most changes aren't due to breast cancer, but it's important to see your doctor without delay if you notice any of these changes.
Yeah.
And
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
So when I was in Samoa, one of the things that was happening is that women would find a lump, and then they would go to the traditional healers for massaging the breast, which is not good at all in under those circumstances if you're finding a lump. So just something to be mindful of. Prod and press and massage it. Please check with your GP, have it looked at, before doing anything else.
Because it can make it worse, right? So
yes.
Yeah, make it your business to find out. And if we're the best, doctors for our body in the sense of knowing what we're feeling. If we're sensing something that's different, then go get a second opinion if you don't get the right opinion the first time, So thank you for that. Now, coming up next is our Oceania quiz. And tonight's quiz is all about how well you know your festivals in the Pacific.
What's your favorite festival?
That's asking a festival
Fiji Day Sydney. Let me guess.
Organizer is.
You know what? My favorite. I've been to Heilala Festival in Tonga. I've been to Te Wila Festival, obviously in Samoa, and I've been to the Hibiscus Festival. I've been to I've been to a cultural festival in Solomons. I've been to Papua.
Wow.
I love them all. But yeah, festivals are a very popular time of the year in the Pacific. As you know, it's the best time to go visit because you have all of the cultural elements on display in 1 week. It's also a very busy time to be there. So I've got some photos for you, and your job is to pick. I'm going to show you 3 photos of festivals. You need to guess the official name of the festival and the country where the festival is held. So I'm going to show you picture number 1. See if you know where this festival is held and what festival it is, what country. So that's the first one. Just a hint, this festival happens, it's a 2-week festival. It happens around February. Here's another picture of it. It's the same festival.
Is it only their people like that they're hosting the festival, and that's it, like their national event?
Yeah.
Wow.
Stunning people, right? Stunning. Okay, so this is festival number 2. This should be a relatively easy one if you know this one. So what is the name of the festival and the country where you will find this festival? Amazing.
Woo, I know that one.
Look at that. I'm sure
That
you
is
do know that one.
amazing. I
Look
want
at
to
this.
learn that dance. That's what I want to do.
And here's another photo of the same festival. So again, in the comments, what's the festival called and the country that this festival comes from? And now here's a one that's a little bit different. What is this festival? What's the festival called? What country is this festival found? But still equally as impressive. There we go. I'll be back with the answers. So just quickly, that was your first one. That's your second festival. And that's your third festival. What are the festivals called and what countries? That's me. Don't forget to put your answers in the comments.
Yeah, the first one, the second two I kind of guessed, but the first one is a bit hard. Yeah, looks amazing though, right? So next up, we have part 2 of our interview with the Reverend James Bhagwan, who is the General Secretary of the Pacific Conference of Churches, PCC. He's on his way to COP, as we mentioned last week when we shared the first part. And he will be joining the Pacific delegation, including our very own Pacific Climate Warriors. So the Pacific Conference of Churches has been involved in previous COP over the past or the last 10 years. And the faith and religious communities have been active in the advocacy of COP since the first one 27 years ago. So he talks about the hopes and what also we all can do for our planet. So let's go right to that.
We need to make sure that there are some very strong commitments to protecting the ocean, particularly around maintaining the ocean health and stopping anything that could harm that. Other issue for us is climate financing. This is the commitment of developed countries to ensure that the cost of adaptation of countries that are affected by climate change, for example, the Pacific and others, the funding is available not as loans, but as grants from the polluting countries, help us put projects in. The issue of relocating island communities, both internally, and we have already in Fiji, for example, a number of communities that have been relocated and are being relocated. But if nothing changes and the sea level continues to rise, and then there's going to be this issue of international relocation for some of our sisters and brothers from Kiribati and Tuvalu, as much as they don't want to leave. How is that paid for? You cannot burden Pacific Island and other countries with that cost. And so we talk about polluter pays, that these bigger nations need to put more money in and be serious about the amount of money that they're committing. You know, that touches the issue of what we call loss and damage, non-economic loss and damage, so the loss of livelihood that people will face, but also the non-economic loss and damage, the trauma, the challenges that Pacific Island people who are rooted to their land will go through if they're relocated. Process of relocation to not just be this government process where you're shipped to another place, but you know, for us as Pacific people, we have cultural and traditional protocols of how we leave the land, of how we go into a new place, how we meet and engage with the receiving community. So all those things also need to be taken into consideration. There's a spiritual element, and these processes will require funding in some sort or the other in terms of running programs. Those are some of the key things that we keep an eye on and hoping to hold governments to account. You know, some people would have watched the youth pre-COP meeting in Milan, where young Greta Thunberg from Sweden, when she got up and she was, you know, every time she mentioned something that our political leaders usually say, she says, blah, 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 blah. And that's the thing, the same thing that we feel, that there's a lot of things being said. There's a lot of what we call rhetoric. And in the Pacific, we know our rhetoric very well. We're all good orators. We're good at saying things. But we need these countries to really follow through because our lives depend on it. And what they often also forget is their lives depended on it as well. I'm in Germany at the moment, and just 3 months ago, there were massive floods as a result of climate change. People dying, hundreds of people dying, villages being washed away. That's the impact of climate change in Europe. And so it's not something that's happening, way down in the Pacific. This is happening in these big countries as well. You look at Australia, the droughts, the bushfires, all these things are interconnected to the issue of climate change. All the countries of the world, particularly the bigger countries, need to step up and be really serious about their commitments. One can only hope when we go there, and this is my honest reflection, we're on panels and we're talking and we're marching, and we're basically the converted. We are the ones who already believe and recognize, and it's getting those messages across. In our Pacific understanding and in indigenous peoples' understanding all over the world, we are not separate from the environment. We are part of it. And scientists will tell us that, all the time, conservationists, biologists, we are part of the ecosystem. So there's a strong call, not only from faith communities and indigenous communities, but also from the scientific communities, to place biodiversity and the protection of biodiversity at the center of any development, any economic decisions that are being made. Unfortunately, this is where the clash really starts to happen, because it comes down to the fact that it's not about governments. It's about the role of big business and their influence on governments, of the big mining and extractive industry corporations and their influence on government. And so when we're trying to talk to Scott Morrison and others about shifting to renewable energy, there is very strong, very well-resourced lobbying taking place on the other side. And so, all we can do as Pacific people, we sit on the mat, we sit outside, and we sit and we sit and we sit and we keep saying what we're going to say. There are a lot of Pacific Island icons, Australian icons, who are Pacific Islanders. And these people need to share our story and recognize it, because, your homes back home may not be there anymore if things don't, and it's not just, sea level rise with the increasing extreme weather patterns, the droughts, the floods, the cyclones. In Fiji, we had severe tropical cyclone Yasa that came through, the Solomons, Vanuatu, Fiji, and Tonga all got smacked by the one huge cyclone. And that's the norm for us. I got an update from home just the other day while I was traveling to say that they're expecting 1 to 3 high category cyclones this cyclone season. And you know what? We know that because of our indigenous knowledge. We were talking before I left. Oh, the mangoes are fruiting much later this year in abundance. Certain crops, the uto, the breadfruit, is fruiting is bearing fruit in abundance this year. That's a sign for us to prepare for the bad weather that's coming. We need to find a way that we can live in more harmony with nature, and just start to try and do our personal part to reduce our carbon footprints. And in doing that, that affects our consumers, our consumer behavior, our spending and things like that. And that has a ripple effect. Businesses, they're not stupid. When they see people shifting, they will match that shift, because that's where people are going. The politicians have a big role to play, but the individuals, the communities also have a very important role to play. And do hold us and the delegates, the negotiators, in your prayers. That's the very least that everyone can do, and send us that positive energy that we need. Share the message when you see us talking about what's going on. Share that, whether it's a repost or share on social media, or just in conversations with the different people that you engage with every day at work or at school or uni. Continue to share the stories and the message, because that's a very powerful thing, and that makes everyone part of the solution.
Well said.
Yeah.
There are fewer Pacific leaders attending this year, Mary J, obviously due to COVID and the restrictions and it's been very difficult to travel. So let's all keep them in our prayers. I mean, you know personally how difficult it was for the arrangements to be made for. And also the COP starts next week and goes until the 12th of October. So make sure you keep them in your prayers. Oh, and also we'll share more information about the Pacific Climate Warriors need for you to sign the Youth for Pacific Declaration. So go to 350 Pacific Facebook page or their Instagram Pacific Climate Warriors page and sign up and take that up.
Yes, please do that. We'll continue to share the information on Fiji Day, Sydney and Matavai Pacific Cultural Arts pages around COP26. Our Pacific delegations are now descending into London. They are starting to come together and there's going to be a lot happening. And I love when he said that, you know, it's like a David and Goliath situation. And this was something my friend said to me. It's you know, we're the David and they're the Goliath. And he said in that interview how the Pacific delegation, they just keep repeating the same thing. And then they go and sit on their mat and they sit and they wait. That really gets me when he says that. I wish them all the best. And I'm so grateful they're representing us at COP26. So many prayers need to be had. Please uplift them in your prayers and also uplift the leaders that they may make the right choices, choices that will bring justice to, you know, especially Indigenous communities all over the world. Now,
Amen.
going back to Trey's here. Let's just bring her on. Hey, Trey.
Yay! Welcome to the
Thanks
studio.
for having me, guys.
Hi.
I think we need to play a little bit of that music.
It's great to be back.
Good to see you, sis. We kind of you know, really
Missed you.
yeah, we missed you. We did
Mary
miss
Jane?
you.
Oh, thank you. I was watching because, you know, I was somewhere else, but I was listening and watching. I'm like, wow, they're really good. Like, it's good to like be, you know, a spectator. So well done. And I really enjoyed Adele's interview for Pinktober. Such a warrior. Thank you for sharing that.
Isn't she?
Yeah.
So we had the Oceania quiz just before, Trey, before that interview with the amazing Reverend James. And so the first festival that I showed, and I think Joe there said it was Tahiti. Well, this festival is actually a festival in Easter Islands called Tapati Rapa Nui Festival. Tapati
Wow.
Rapa Nui Festival is a 2-week-long festival held in the beginning of February, in which two families compete in cultural competitions all over the island, such as music, sculpture, sports, body painting, fishing, and much more. So that's a festival if you ever want to get out and explore the Pacific, February, and that's Rapa Nui, Easter Islands.
How
The second
stunning are those?
Aren't they? Just stunning.
Beautiful people. Beautiful.
Festival number 2, you want to take a guess what this one was? Seb?
Merry
what?
Merry-
Merry Christmas?
Is it Merry Monarch? I was waiting for Seth
Yes,
to jump
sister.
in Hawaii.
Merry Monarch.
Merry Monarch. It is Merry Monarch, a festival in Hawaii dedicated to the memory of King David La'amea Kalakaua, known as the Merry Monarch, for his flamboyant and fun-loving ways. Kalakaua was elected king of the Hawaiian nation in 1874 and reigned until passing in 1891. So that is an amazing festival held in Hawaii in July. Absolutely stunning. Hi, Lofa. Nice to see you, sis. Okay, festival number 3 and the last one. Not your typical festival, but equally stunning. Anyone want to take a guess? Joe got this one right.
I am not bungee jumping like that, that's for sure, without water being at the base.
Warriors, aren't they? Look at them. So this one is actually the Nangal Festival, which happens in April, May, and June, and the festival is held in Vanuatu. And it is the men jump off wooden towers that are around 20 to 30 meters with 2 tree vines wrapped around their ankles. Land diving is done by tying vines to each ankle, and it's a tradition. It has developed into a tourist attraction. So those are your
think
festivals
so.
from the Pacific, and that was your oceanic quiz for this week.
Amazing.
I think we should go to all of them,
I think so.
starting from
In
February,
February,
right?
in
Yes.
Easter Island.
Starting from February.
Let's do it.
Can we have some sponsors?
Yes. Now is the time, people.
Yes.
All right, you're just in time for that segment, Trey. You know what it is.
Yes, what shook our coconuts?
Let's go. I don't know why it's fast and then slows down.
We'll have to look into that. So, what did shake our coconuts?
Who wants to go first? Shall we gang or more? Shh. Okay, I don't know how that will work. Papers, you ready? Just go douche. Okay, run 1, 2, 3. Gang, more. You're first, Trey.
Yay! That means I have to go first. Oh,
Yes.
Okay. Well, mine is, climate change, on the climate change topic, an article that I read earlier this week about Torres Strait Islander communities taking Australia to court over climate. And one of the quotes by an elder is, "This island is me and I am this island." So, they're concerned about the loss of land and the impact of climate change. So they're taking the legal battle to court. They're going to court. So that was on the news this week, and it just pissed me off that Indigenous communities have to go to court to save their land. That will save all of us. It helps all of us. But once again, we're at the forefront, even here in Australia. So that really shook my coconuts.
You said pissed you off.
Yeah. Well, yeah. More pissed me off.
That's another interpretation of rocking your coconuts, right?
Yeah. Shook your coconuts is more of the Pacific chill way, but damn pissed me off.
Yeah, of course. But more power to them, hey, to take on go. Just because they're bigger and stronger and more wealthier doesn't mean you shouldn't be standing up for it. So more power to them.
So true.
That's why we need to come together, all of us.
Amen.
What rocked your coconut, Steph?
Well, so many things rocked my coconuts this
Me
week.
too.
It's really hard just to think. Huh? It's really hard just to think of one. Just you think things start to get better. The same thing that Trey was talking about is the fact that Indigenous Australians and we have to actually keep our politicians honest. And that's really what is annoying about this whole thing is politicians are selected and chosen to be there to represent the people. And when they continue to just negotiate for financial gains and for whatever gains that they are, and not really thinking of the land, thinking of the people, social justice, and so forth, it just really, I just want to sack them all if I could. But there are the elections coming up soon, and it gives us an opportunity, and we should talk more about that and how we should be more active in choosing those that will represent us. And that's your power to the people, to really hold them accountable and choose the right people that's going to represent us well, and not those that are there for their own self-interest.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Mine,
Over to you.
It was definitely climate change stuff, and you've pretty much captured it all except for the fact that Scott Morrison said a few doozies this week that kind of like, wow, isn't going to change his stance on emissions. Just going to read you just quickly. He said, "We're not asking anything to be closed down. We're going to keep digging. We're going to keep mining. We're going to keep farming." And it went on and on and on. So that's the guy that's going to COP. Good luck to the Pacific delegations. May the force be with you. But what really rocked my coconuts this week was something to do with this lady. Where is she? Oh, this lady is a teacher in America.
tomahawks. Is that right?
Before I play it, so this is a teacher in America. She put on a costume and started to jump around imitating indigenous American Indians. And so there was a young boy who is an indigenous Indian, part Kanaka Maoli, so he's part Hawaiian too. He was in the class, and this woman is doing this.
I don't know. Tomahawks. Is that right? What that is? Okay. So got to what? 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 So got to.
Oh my goodness. Come and
Not
hear
well.
some on your
There's mental illness.
Wow, what is wrong? Anyway, so
What
she's a
an
math
ignorant.
teacher. She was a math teacher, and this young boy was very offended by it, of course. And so that was posted to, big social media pages. And I saw that as well. But something happened to me just really quickly this week. I was also approached by a very big corporation. As we do as Matavai, we get asked to do a lot of things. And one of this particular request was one that really rocked my coconuts. And usually I'm very obliging. I'm very nice. Okay, I will work with you. But when I get an email requesting me, a Samoan, to present at a very big, prestigious event for women, and this is a corporation that's asking me, so they approached me and asked me if I could teach hot hula, so that their participants could have fun and find it interesting. And therefore, if I could, after the hot hula class, could I then expand on the ancient traditions of the Pacific cultures?
Ignorant. Yeah.
So I did answer back, and I probably am blacklisted in this big corporation, but I don't care. So my point is this. Hot hula is a form of exercise that fuses together a whole heap of Polynesian dance expressions. Hot hula has nothing to do with ancient cultural expressions of the Pacific. It is a form of exercise. Remember that. Just because I'm a Pacific Islander, don't assume that I know or have the authority to teach a hot hula class. It's just ridiculous to be asked. And also, hula is an ancient Hawaiian art form. And in Pacific, in particular Hawaiian, our culture is not a commodity that you can obtain so that you can have a bit of fun, or to make you feel good, or to make yourself feel hot, or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Our culture is thousands of years old. It's precious to us. We have fought very hard to keep our culture, in particular Hawaiians, who have fought very hard to keep their identity. They've had their land stolen. They've had their people stolen, killed, the list goes on. So when you're approaching Pacific Islanders because you want to learn something about our culture, please do your research and have some respect. Secondly, choose an island. If you want to know a little bit more, choose a particular island. In my opinion of this high-level event, it's just not okay. And for those who are learning our culture, because we also offer our culture to people on an online experience, I'm very open to people learning our culture. I'm glad that you want to learn. But if you want to learn our dance and dance our dance and maybe make money off our dance, then you also need to stand with us for everything that we come with, our issues, our struggles, colonization, the fact that our land, you have to stand with us in everything, not just learn our dance and that's it. You need
good
to
and the bad.
The good and the bad, solidarity with our people. And now more than ever, we need people to come and stand in solidarity with us. Especially
Amen to that. Amen.
That was what rocked my coconuts this week.
And you did that so beautifully and in such a polite, beautiful way. Speaking truth to powers, right? That come with that. And look, and the way that you also put it, left it really open. It's a teachable moment for that person and that organization. They might have thought it was, okay. And I think you've just shown her a different way of viewing it. And but that video that you showed before, that was just a moron.
Yeah.
Like, you are just dumb, stupid, just sit down. You shouldn't even be teaching. If you can't do your research like that and you want to teach in a class and mock, that was mockery. What she was doing. She thought that maybe she wanted to be a comedian. And that was just insulting, you know. I would love to be able to have a conversation with that woman right
I don't
there.
think
And,
she'll be employed because that video has gone viral, and they'll have to do some mental health assessments.
right. Yeah, definitely. There's something not right there. She's definitely a little bit screws loose. But thank you for sharing that, Mary Jane. And, you know, we are the custodians. And this is where that word comes in. We are custodians. We are stewards of our culture and our tradition. And we need to speak out like that. And it's a, you know, teaching moment and a moment where people can learn from to set them straight, because they might think, and I think we can talk about it later on in a bigger way, but I think because of time, but we also have got to be careful as Pacific nations, and I can talk specifically from Fiji, is how we sell off our culture and tradition for tourism dollars. And what are we willing to do? How do we go about doing that, you know? And in a way that respects and honors it and preserves it. Because there is room for both. And I think we need to become wiser as Pacific people, as custodians, on how we do this from the government down, because I think there's a lot of opportunity there for
How about we lease it? You know, like in music, I always say, own all your IP, lease it out, but we've still got to retain ownership. And then it's always on our terms, every step. But good on you, Jane, for speaking up, because I think a lot of us don't do that enough. And
it was late at night, and I was sorry, Trey.
Yes, good on you. And I pray that she is a woman of substance and that she realizes this is a benefit for her and her organization. You know, you took the time out to respond. Most people don't.
It's a massive corporation, Trey.
Yeah. You know, things are changing in the corporate world, in the business sector. They have to be more culturally aware, you know, and more. They need to be more connected with communities. So fingers crossed.
And remember the words of Teresia Teaiwa: you cannot paint the Pacific with one brushstroke.
Amen to that.
They're not all the same.
Woo! Come on, preach.
Well, we are diverse.
You know, we could go on for hours talking about this topic. Like, it just fits you. Look,
I think we need a show on this. We need a show on this. This is important because this is coming up every day for us. But hey, guys, can I just share a bit about where I was tonight?
I've got the video too when you're ready.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Do you want to play the video and then I can just...
Do you want to say something first, Trey?
Well, it's called the Mount Druitt Press Conference. So it was an event where Mount Druitt young people got to speak about issues that they were concerned about. And they'd been attending events with Meki, who's one of the workers in Mount Druitt. And then they set up a streaming space for them in Bidwell. They came together, 3 of the leaders, and they had a bit of a talanoa. So that finished. So we'll have the video ready soon, but I just wanted to share them. You know, it was the first time they've did this tonight, so I did a little snippet of them to share with all of you as well, which they were excited about. So this is Nina, Tala, and Leon.
Hey everyone, it's MC Trey here. We're so excited to be here in Mount Druitt. Amazing event on tonight. Please meet our special guests.
Hey guys, I'm Leon.
Hey guys, I'm Nina.
Hello.
And we're here for the Mount Druitt Press Conference. So guys, tell us, what is this about?
So it's basically a forum where us young people are able to talk about the issues that are happening here in Mount Druitt, being a Pacifica young person, and also you know, talking about solutions and what we want the big politicians to know.
Very important. Anything else you want to add, guys?
He's a singer.
That was fun. So that finished just before, which is why I was late coming in, but we'll have a video of that up soon. And, you know, they're concerned about the negative stigmas and the stereotypes placed upon Pacific young people and Western Sydney and Mount Druitt. So they spoke up, and we had some MPs log in. So we'll be tabling the notes and sending them up to federal parliament. But very excited, and I look forward to more press conferences like this for our young people across Western Sydney. And then they've got a festival next year in January, which Matavai will be performing at. So January 22nd, and that's all part of Sydney Festival. So you heard it here first because it's going to be announced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matavai part of Sydney Festival.
And congratulations, Trey, on being nominated for Youth Worker of the Year.
Thank you. Thank you.
New South Wales.
Thank you for the nomination. Thank you.
Hey, Letila
Cheers
was
to you
watching. Letila, good to see you, sis. Joining us.
Letila Mitchell.
Any love. Mwah, mwah. And
Noaya, Letila.
Bring it down, sister, of course. And Alofa, I love you, sis. And Joe, it's good to see you.
Oh, beautiful.
We gotta have Latila on. We gotta have Latila on at some point, right?
Oh, that
Lola
sounds good.
Latila and the family.
And next
and the
up.
Rocco Familia.
Moonlight, oh, moonlight tango up in my bundle. Take me to a dream where the zombie dancing, romancing. Moonlight tango under your spell, where only two can share that romance and moonlight. Fiji and moonlight.
Fiji and moonlight.
Love it. Moonlight tango. Moonlight thoughts. My can I start?
Yep.
Yes, please.
My moonlight thoughts. Still sending love to our Pacific climate warriors over there in Glasgow. So proud of them and seeing the images. And just, reminding everyone to be kind to yourself and be kind to others. That's it for me. God bless you. See you next week. Over to you, Sev.
I just want to congratulate Trey on your nomination. I want to congratulate Matavai on being part of the Sydney Festival finally, and all the great work that you're doing. And thank you everyone for listening in. I think there's a lot of conversations on today that could be a show on its own, right? That we need to talk more about. So just want to thank you lovely ladies for bringing this on every week. They do the work. I actually just come on and sit in, right? They do all the work. So I am that
You're
princess.
just a pretty face.
We're your house girls.
Huh?
We're your house girls.
So I just want to acknowledge these two ladies. They're incredible. They do all the work. I just turn up. So I just want to thank them for their wonderful efforts around this. Congratulations. And thank you everybody for listening in. To everyone that's tuned in. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. My moonlight thoughts are, yes, please sign that Youth for Pacific Declaration. We're going to play the video next. They need all the support they can get. Please keep popping into the 350 Pacific page and send them your love. Send them your love. Wishing all our Pacific delegations and our leaders the best of luck. Go get them. We know who we are. We know what we're capable of. Sending you all our love. Until next week, till fa so fua. Yeah. Where is that video? Right here.
Bye. Fa so fua.
During the global climate strikes in September this year, the Pacific came together in a different way. More than 600 young, strong, and proud Pacific Islander voices formed the Youth for Pacific Declaration on Climate Change. We, the youth from the Pacific, and the Pacific youth in the diaspora, representing frontline communities, grassroots organizations, youth networks, and indigenous peoples. We call on our global leaders to respond to the challenge of this time. Respond to the climate crisis through an intersectional lens that prioritizes justice. That promotes inclusive and just world for ourselves and the future generations to come. At this year's Cop26 Climate Negotiations in Glasgow, we will deliver the voice of Pacific youth to our leaders. Now is your chance to join us. Now is your chance to have your say on why you are fighting for your future. Sign the Youth for Pacific Declaration on Climate Change and have your say.
Set within and create. You follow your dreams, lay it all on the plate. Turn it up, turn it down. Take charge of your fate. Trust that he will